Okay, this is gonna be my spoiler-free movie review for The Marvels. I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised with this film. There is a lot of negativity surrounding this movie, but I don't really know why. Like, after seeing it, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's problems, but it ain't that bad. Let's go ahead and break this review into pros and then cons, and then I'll give you my rating out of 10 at the end. So pro number one is the team dynamic between Kamala, Carol, and Monica. I thought it was actually really well done. There's some great moments between them all. And it was pretty fun watching them switch places because their powers are all entangled due to their power set, which I thought was really interesting. My next positive is the VFX. It actually looked really polished in this movie, which hasn't been a thing for a lot of Marvel projects recently. I gotta say, the visuals just looked pretty damn good in this film. Next, we gotta talk action. I thought that was solid too, and it plays into that whole character switching dynamic too, because it made some of those action scenes really engaging and pretty unique, I would say, because, for example, like Carol will do something and then she switches places with Monica, and they have different power sets and different moves and all that, so I thought the action was pretty cool. My next positive is Kamala Khan. I gotta say, she was probably the best part of the movie. Her character's just written really well. Her family is great, and I'm glad that they had a lot of screen time in the movie too, because that was like the highlight of me for her entire Disney Plus show. And I'm really glad that they got to come over to the whole movie side of the MCU, especially alongside their daughter Kamala. It was just really cool to see them interact with characters like Nick Fury, Monica, and Carol. And speaking of Carol, I gotta say, this is Brie Larson's best performance, hands down, as Carol Danvers. She's actually likable in this movie. She's actually a character. That was a big thing for me in the past movies, was she just felt robotic and kind of one-dimensional and just a little OP too. It's like something's going wrong, she just flies in and is like, yeah, and then just destroys everybody, and there's just no personality. But this movie, they actually write her in a way where she feels like a real person. And I think a lot of people that didn't like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel are probably going to like her a bit more after watching this movie. Overall, the movie is just a good time, it's fun, it's wacky, which I know everybody is saying in their reviews. It's like a staple, they have to say it, but it's true. I thought it was good. Like, it wasn't amazing, it wasn't bad. But speaking about bad, now let's go ahead and talk about the cons, because there's quite a few. The script and dialogue just weren't that good. There was a lot of moments where people are saying some cringe stuff, some moments that just didn't feel very earned. There's some moments where people just say things that are just out of character, I would say. Like Nick Fury, I don't know, he says some weird stuff in this, and lately his appearances have just felt a little bit off, especially in Secret Invasion for me. He just didn't feel like the same Nick Fury, and in this movie too, he says some stuff that I'm like, what? Like, what are you saying, man? The script itself just wasn't that strong overall throughout the entire movie, but yeah, obviously there's some good moments too. My next negative is the villain Dar-Ben from the Kree Empire. Now, I don't know, this one's interesting to me because some people are saying, oh, she's written terribly and she's bad, she's one of the worst villains ever in Marvel, and no, she's not. And I would also say her motivations are pretty damn clear, and I think her character is written well. I think what the problem is that the character is really, really underdeveloped. This is the first time we're seeing her, and everything is just being thrown at us, like the reason why she wants to go after Carol, and some other stuff throughout the movie too, which I won't spoil, but there's a reason that she's doing it all, which is good. That's the motivation you need for a villain, but like I said, this is the first time we've seen her, so you can't just throw her in and just dump all this exposition on us. You gotta show us and really develop this villain, which comes to my next negative here, and that is that this movie felt like a third movie in a Captain Marvel trilogy. And I know there's a few people saying this, but it is so true, because there's a lot of stuff that happens between Captain Marvel 1 and this movie that we just don't really see all that much. Like, there's a couple flashbacks, and they're really, really important things. That's the problem. It's not just something small that happened in the background. Like, we're talking major, major events that we just don't see, which leads up to the whole villain and why she's doing what she's doing. So I think we definitely should have had another Captain Marvel movie, a Captain Marvel 2, where she goes after the Kree Empire to destroy the Supreme Intelligence, which you can see in the trailer. So it's not a spoiler, it's literally in the trailer. But that would have made sense for a Captain Marvel 2, and then you could set up Dar-Ben being on the planet Hala, and then you can set up why she wants to go after Captain Marvel. Holy, I can't speak English right now. But instead, they really brushed over that in a quick little flashback and was like, okay, that's good enough. But this is a major, major moment for the character of Captain Marvel, and it definitely could have made for a really great second movie, and then it would have led into Captain Marvel 3, which is The Marvels. My last negative is that a lot of this movie felt like a Disney Plus movie. Like, it felt a little bit cheaper than a big blockbuster superhero film. But I think the main reason for that is because you have two Disney Plus characters. So the way that you're going to bring those characters back to make them feel familiar is going to give them that same kind of vibe, that same kind of feel that we had when we watched them on those Disney Plus shows. So, like, for example, Kamala Khan, when you see her with her family, it really feels like a Disney Plus show because that's where we saw her. So they wanted to keep that feeling the same so that it's not really jarring seeing Kamala go from TV to movie. But it did cheapen the movie for me a little bit and made the overall film just feel like a Disney Plus special or something. Hold on, there's actually one more negative, and that is the whole singing scene on the planet of Aladna. I thought that was so unnecessary. It didn't come across funny at all, and that's what they were obviously going for. I think if they just made them talk normally, that scene would have totally been okay, but the fact that they made everybody sing was just kind of ridiculous and a little cringe. So that's the pros and cons. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I did enjoy this movie. It's a lot better than a lot of people are saying, and I'm personally going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's solid. I definitely recommend to go check it out. Especially because the ending and the post-credit scene are fantastic, and you will love, love, love them, and it'll definitely give you a sense of direction as to where the MCU is going. So that's the review. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought about the movie, and are you planning on seeing it this weekend?